Well, during our last episode, Patty, you dropped a little bit of a bombshell Easter egg somewhere in the middle of that podcast.
Oopsie.
And now everybody wants to know, what were you trying to say?
Yeah.
And we're going to let you know in this episode of Travels with Delaney,
The podcast.
Welcome back, everyone. My name's Patrick.
I'm Patty.
And we are joined on the old podcast couch by Mr. Truman and Ms. Bess, our Cavalier King Charles Spaniels.
Absolutely. Little babies.
Little babies. And it is hot out today, Patty.
It is stinking hot. It is like such heavy, humid air. We have this heat thing going on right now, and there's like a heat
advisory
until Tuesday or something.
Yeah,
at 8
we are
p.m.
recording on Saturday, June 21st, and it's currently 90 degrees out, real temp, and then the heat index is, I think, way above that. So
it is ridiculous. It is just like blech.
Yeah. So, but you know what? I knew this was going to happen. A week ago, I was wearing a sweatshirt, freezing. And here we are now, we went from one extreme to the other.
It's Indiana weather, and we've talked about that before.
Right.
How you can have these beautiful 70s, because that's what I like, days, and all of a sudden, bam-o, it's hot.
Yeah, and I think we're going to stay hot through Tuesday or Wednesday. And then I do think it comes back down in the 80s, so that should feel pretty good.
Hopefully, and the heat
Pool
index
is
drops.
super busy, which is understandable since... and we're sold out here at the campground again. So
it's a happening spot.
It is a happening spot. And if you're wondering, what campground are you talking about? We're talking about Happy Acres Campground in Angola, Indiana.
You don't just camp.
Camp happy.
Absolutely.
And thank you to all of you who have been making reservations and coming and visiting here. And again, if you do come, please say something. If you see Patty or I out and about, or you see one of us working, please let us know, because we love getting to meet all of you.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of people this year already.
We have.
Super excited to have all of you be a part of the Happy Acres campground experience. We think it's pretty special.
It is.
So, well, today, Patty, we are going to allow you to say a little bit more about what you dropped in our last episode. But before we do that, we have to do another exciting round of this or that.
All right. Hit it.
All right, Patty. If you went to a rib joint.
Yes.
You know what that is, a barbecue joint. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And you are given the option of having your ribs either dry rubbed or wet with your favorite barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
Which way would you order them?
I think that's easy peasy. Dry, baby.
Dry, baby.
I like it dry because I can always have sauce on the side if I need it and do my little dipping. But I like to have them dry. I don't like to have them all like
lathered
swimming in whatever.
Yeah. A lot of times that is the problem with ribs at barbecue or even if it's not a barbecue place, just restaurant.
Sauce
there's just way too much sauce on them for me. Now some people like them like that.
All that, but I like them more dry, and then I can add a little sauce.
I like them glazed, and there is a difference between sauced and glazed. And glazed is when, you can kind of see they're shiny, meaning they've thinned out the barbecue sauce and then just allowed it to almost thicken up a little bit. And so it's not that gloppy.
Goopy. I call it
goopy. Yeah.
Where it gets all over your fingers and your face.
What was that rib place? Damon's. You remember Damon's, the restaurant chain that did ribs? They had good glazed ribs. They weren't saucy. They were glazed. And then oh my gosh, I forgot about Damon's until just now.
You're going back.
I don't even know if they still exist as a company.
I have no idea.
But, all right, well, enough with the rib business, even though that's what we're having for dinner tonight.
Yeah,
I've got 5 slabs.
Oh my goodness.
He's
feeding the campground people.
Yeah, I got 5 slabs on the old Traeger Ridgeline XL pellet grill.
Let's just say I hope we have lots of leftovers.
Yeah, that's right. And that's why I threw extras on, because those things heat up.
Because with this heat, that's an easy
we don't want to cook.
Up. Yeah, it's easy.
So, Patty, in the last episode,
yes,
you made a comment.
I did.
I don't even remember how you phrased it, but I was like, what, are you giving away the secret? So what was the big news that you kind of dropped that you didn't totally tell, but some people picked up on?
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
You and I, changed trailers. We traded.
Shocker. So if you had June in the pool, you win.
Yeah. We had traded in our Alliance All Access. I don't know the numbers.
It was a 29 RL All Access.
Okay, into or traded for an Alliance Avenue.
32 RLS.
Good, you know the numbers.
Yes.
Basically, it's the same setup, but just with a few things that we really wanted that we wished the Alliance had.
The other one, yeah. And we should have bought this one a year ago.
Right, but you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So.
And I will tell you, for those of you wondering how much bigger is it, it's actually only 2 feet longer.
Okay.
The big difference maker
is
the bedroom slide out.
Right. Because now we have a bedroom slide out where the bed slides out.
And really opens up that space.
Right, and it allows us to have one of the things we really wanted, which was a king bed.
Yes.
Because the dogs here are bed hogs.
That's right.
And we're tired of having our arms
even
on the
the dogs appreciated the king bed.
Oh, my gosh.
The first night, they weren't even pushing on us.
No.
It was like, oh, my gosh, we have space. And
yeah.
Now, I will say these RVs, they're not a residential king.
No,
but I think our residential king is 80 by 80. This one is 72 by 80, but that's 12 more inches than the queen.
I'll take it.
Absolutely.
Now, the one thing I'm hoping, I can't wait for, is when our new mattress gets here. Because we're on, it's an okay.
They did up their game.
It's not as bad as the other
or unless
one.
they put a different mattress in the All Access series
right.
in the straight up Avenue. But this one is decent. I wouldn't want to sleep on it
all the time.
All the time.
No.
It's very hard or firm, I guess.
I guess it's just we're fortunate right now that we've been doing hard work here.
And we're tired.
It's just you're so tired to lay down and go to sleep. But,
yeah.
So
but we do have our mattress from Mattress Insider on order. We're just waiting for it to be shipped. The luxury gel foam mattress. It's the same mattress we had in the Lance. It's the same mattress we had in the last 2 Alliances, and it's the same mattress that we slept on in our log cabin.
Right.
And so we love Mattress Insider. Here's the thing. We don't even really officially work with Mattress Insider anymore. I think if you mention Travels with Delaney, you can get a discount. I haven't heard from my contact in a couple years, but we love that. And I could have easily reached out to some of the other names that you hear in YouTube videos and things like that, and I'm sure they would have sent us a free one. They would have loved that, to have us switch from or Insider, Mattress Insider, I'll get it, to like Brooklyn Bedding or whoever it is. But we love our Mattress Insider mattress so much. I'm like, why would we mess it? We'll just pay like everybody else, buy the mattress, which we've done for the last 2 mattresses.
Right.
Even.
Well, the cabin, we had it there too.
So
that's the first thing.
Yeah. So that was one thing we wanted that we got. Actually, we had 4 items going into this, and we checked all 4 boxes.
We did. That was number one of them.
Yep.
Having larger, the whole front end is a closet.
Right.
For more hang-up clothes, storage under the bed. You've got, what do you call that? What's that thing in front of the bed with all this?
Oh, a little dresser with 4 drawers,
right.
And then some. You flip up the front, and there's some place for like your jewelry,
right?
Or
so,
things. Yeah. Definitely. Before, and it was funny because we, since we moved into our RV full time in March, we have discussed things we wanted. We went back and forth on whether to upgrade.
Right.
And it seemed like the longer we were in here, the more we came to the conclusion that we do want to upgrade if this is going to be our home for the next 2 to 3 years. We want to be comfortable. Like you had figured out storage. We talked about that in prior episodes. You had come up with this crate system under the bed. But you do it long enough to where, I think for me, the breaking point was the day where I said, where's my hats? Because I don't want to get sunburned. And you're like, oh, they're in a crate under the bed. And then it was the crate that was on the bottom. And I'm like, okay, this works, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, because I was constantly getting my upper body exercise.
Raising the bed.
Getting the bed up to get, shoes or clothes or whatever. Because I was trying to, do the best of my space that we had. So that was...
So now, even if we had to use crates in this big front closet, at least you don't have to lift up the bed and dig them out, but we don't need to.
I don't need to.
We've got plenty of storage now, and I'm sure it'll get better as we refine because it's a different system we're using. We have room for a lot more hanging clothes.
Right. Well, and
probably triple the space for hanging clothes, would you say?
Maybe, yeah. And
at least double.
Yeah. I think it might be triple.
I would say
right
triple,
yeah. And still, I'm in the process, and I just haven't had time. But to weed out even more things that I don't need.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's gonna work out, I think, even better. And with that closet comes the next thing.
Number 3 on our checklist
Would be having a washer and dryer
Yep,
in
hookup.
the rig.
And
Um,
so it came with the hookups.
mm-hmm.
We ordered through Amazon the Splendid or Splendid, I don't know how you pronounce it, washer and dryer. It's the same one Jonathan, our friend from Tree Talker the Traveler, has, who they've had it for a year now.
Yep.
He says it works awesome. And so Myron will probably be out late next week to help me get those installed. So you now won't have to, when it's raining out,
Right.
or just when you're just tired, like it's the evening and you're tired, we can just throw a load in right here
Right.
in the RV.
Well, and Andrew Kevin here at the campground this year decided to have washer and dryer for staff, which
Right.
is so nice. And they're nice washer,
Yeah.
very nice, brand new. And even that, we're all trying to manage that and not be in
Yeah, because
others'
there's,
way.
what is there, about 4 of us all
Right.
using it, and 4 couples, and
And plus, you got the cabin laundry,
yeah.
the towels and the sheets and the bedding from the cabin. So
So
it's just one more thing.
sometimes,
Yeah,
it's worked out really nice.
it
but,
has.
But
And
this,
so this
but
will
if
be
we're
even
not running
nicer.
down there as much,
Yeah.
that'll help out them as well.
Yeah, it was getting very tiresome running back and forth, and so yeah.
And most likely, wherever we are this winter, we're not going to have free laundry.
No.
And so now we can just do it in here as opposed to going up and chucking quarters 2-3 times a week.
Well, it's like I can do like how I used to do in my house. It's like, okay, I have a little time this morning. I'm going to run a little load here, a little load there. I don't have to wait.
Yeah, we were collecting it, trying to do big loads,
Yeah.
that type of thing. So
Yep,
yeah,
so that's 3 of them.
that's 3.
What's the 4th one, hon?
4th one was one I really wanted, and that was a residential refrigerator.
Yep.
Or residential size refrigerator. And
Side
so
by side.
this is a side by side.
No frost. It says
No
in
frost
there.
freezer. I mean, we can put. It's just like being back at home,
Mm-hmm.
and that was really important to me. And yeah, I'm so excited to have that. So.
Right, because earlier in the year, you guys probably remember we bought that thing.
We bought that electric cooler,
Yep.
which, by the way, works great.
It's been doing a great job.
But even that was a pain because I would say, like, oh, do we have this? And Pay be like, oh, it's out in the shed in the freezer. And so then it's like you're running in and out. And then our little freezer was frosting over terrible, worse than I ever remember.
Well, and it was just like your space was becoming very minimal
Right.
in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So ultimately, that's why we decided to make the switch, because we kind of went through this process. We have been looking since March, actually, at properties in Florida. Like, we thought, well, maybe we'll just go ahead and buy a property, next spring in Florida. And then I don't know why I love not having a property to take care of.
Well, I think it just kind of came to us, especially you, and then you told me that you're like, man, if we get a place in Florida, then we have to maintain that property. We
Right.
can't just like.
And we're going to have to go there every winter because
Right, that's where you have to go, and
Right.
we haven't seen a lot of the Southwest and other places in the United States. We want to be able to have some freedom.
Right.
For a while, we don't want to have a place to have to worry about the lawn or worry about this or worry about, all different, how you do with a home. So
Right.
yeah,
I mean, good examples like this winter,
yeah,
we're going to Texas. But if we had a place in Florida, we wouldn't really want to spend, you'd feel like you have to go there and use that versus,
yeah.
and so there was that. And then, so once we realized, and we're still looking, I'm not saying we wouldn't buy a property. If we got an amazing deal, because I'm always up for a good investment, but it's not really our plan to buy anything for a couple years. And so it was kind of like, well, if this is going to be our home, do we want to have these things that are bothering us, that are inconvenient or just not comfortable?
Right.
And so we've really thought about this for the last 3 months.
Yeah, we've been really doing our research.
And honestly, kind of what did it was I wanted to buy a Brinkley, and I found a used Brinkley 3100, which was this floor plan. It's like
Right.
the Brinkley version of the Alliance Avenue 32 RLS. And I called over on it, and I just asked, I said, because the price was very good on it. And I said, is it in good shape? Because your pictures are all stock photos. We couldn't see what it actually looked like. We were planning to run over there and look at it. And he paused, and he was like, Well, the inside's in great shape. And I was like, oh, I don't like the way he's phrasing that.
Yeah,
And then
what's
he
going
paused
on?
again, and he's like, the outside, well, it was in a wreck, but we're going to redo it. That's why we haven't taken photos.
Oh boy.
But there is a possibility it could have a salvage title. I'm like, no way. I'm not even interested. So then he gave us a price on a brand new one, and honestly, the brand new one was only what was it, 7,000 more than this used one that had been in a wreck. And I'm like, well, okay, maybe we'll buy a new one.
Yeah.
But their trade offer was horrible. And then it was like, well, we could try to sell ours. And at one point it was like, well, maybe we'll buy it and then list ours. But that made me nervous.
That was very nervous. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to like sit with two.
Right. And because the market's a little unstable in the old RV industry right now, it seems
and all that. I didn't want to do that.
So that night, we were talking, like, I'm like, well, I guess Brinkley's off the table. And it was still, even if we sold it ourselves, it was kind of like it was still going to be a lot of money, and in a best case scenario. And so we were just sitting in our 29RL, and I'm like, I love this trailer. And I think you said the same thing. You're like, yeah, I love it. Like, we loved the trailer. We've just had some issues with Alliance's customer service that's been frustrating, to the point that, here's my thing. When I'm frustrated with something, I don't want to recommend then that company to our subscribers and our family, because I have to assume that I, as an influencer, is being treated this way. You're probably going to be treated worse. Although it seems like at Alliance, because we hear people all the time say how wonderful their customer service is. We just haven't necessarily seen it.
Right.
And so I didn't want another Alliance. Some of you probably never even noticed, but since way back in January, when there was an incident with us and Alliance and a warranty claim, I had not uttered the word Alliance, I don't think, in a single YouTube video or podcast. I would refer to it as our RV.
Right.
And I did that because I did not want people going out and buying Alliance RVs because of us, because I was afraid if they had the experiences we had, then they would blame us for that. And I protect our reputation, or try to. So, and we still do not recommend, if you want to buy Alliance, great. If you don't want to buy one, great. But I am not endorsing them per se. You do what you want to do. I just don't want somebody doing it because of us, if that makes sense. So we came to the realization that warranties are for 1 year, and if you can survive 1 year, and you love your RV, and honestly with Myron, we probably don't even we'll just pay out of pocket if we have to, unless it's major. And so I found this particular RV that we're setting in, the 32 RLS Alliance Avenue, at Walnut Ridge RV down in Memphis, Indiana. They actually have two locations. The original's in Newcastle, which would have been a lot closer. And so I said to Pat, I said, I'm going to call them tomorrow, and I'm going to take a different approach. I'm going to make them an offer. And I actually went probably the lowest possible. So there was like, here's what I'm going to tell them, and here's what I could live with.
Right.
And so I called, told them, they took all of our information. About 45 minutes later, Devin, who was our salesperson, who we've never actually met, because it was his day off the day we picked it up, but he was great. He called me back and he said, we're real close, which that always makes me laugh, because their idea of real close and my idea sometimes are different. But they were about 3,000 higher than what I said, but it was 2,000 less than what we had said our maximum was. And so ultimately we did it. And then this past Tuesday, we were on the road by 5:30 a.m.
Yep.
We left the pups here in good hands. Woody and Priscilla are up from Texas, and
we did some puppy sitting.
Yeah. And
the puppies were on vacay.
We arrived at Walnut Ridge at 10:15, and we left Walnut Ridge at 12:15. Probably one of the smoothest, and definitely one of the quickest pickups we've ever had.
They were ready,
and I appreciated that.
Yep.
That's a good thing for me.
Yep.
First thing, Ryan, the sales manager, came out, said, I need to look at your trade just to verify it's what you said it was. And he went out. 10 minutes later, came back in and said, everything looks great. And I actually told him, I said, I know. In fact, you're getting a steal. Because honestly, I felt like for what they paid for it, when we had that thing completely emptied out, I was like, this thing still looks brand new.
Yeah.
I think they got a great deal. And then they took us back to finance, and I wish I could remember the gentleman's name. He was awesome. I always try to be polite when they go through the warranty stuff. And in fact, he even joked. He's like, "Oh, I see you only had your last Alliance a year. I'm guessing you don't need an extended warranty.
Right.
And we chuckled. I said, actually, this is 3 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, I'm assuming you don't want the warranties. And I said, no, thank you. And he said, no problem. I mean, and he signed off. And then when we were done signing all the paperwork, Jordan took us on the walkthrough, and I told Jordan, like, hey, it's basically the same exact RV except 2 feet longer. It has one more slide. He said, great. He goes, I don't want to waste your time. Let's walk around. Let's walk through. If you see things, if you have questions, I'll try to point out some things that might be different. And so we did our orientation pretty darn quick.
Yeah.
Like, I think I asked about 2 things. How to use the new handle on the door, because it was different than what we had.
Right.
And I don't remember what the other thing was.
There was something
else that I asked about. And then he pointed out a few things, like the fireplace is a different fireplace. Yeah, and so we switched over our lithium battery. The RV was basically empty other than some sodas that we brought. And back on the road at 12:15, or pulled out at 12:15. Back here at 5 o'clock.
Done. Yeah, because we had really prepped ahead of time. We had emptied out the rig pretty much. We did not want to have to. We've done that before where it's loaded and you're just transferring. We didn't want to do that.
Right.
And plus, you're taking off different things that we'd had, like the Victron and the
so I never even told them that we had the full Victron inverter system because I knew they wouldn't give us any extra for it. And so, yeah, Myron had come over and uninstalled all that, and he'll be reinstalling it in this one. We took off our electronic door lock. I put the original one back on. I took out the Blue Tech UVC drinking water system.
Yes.
And we just ran to Menards, and I would say we bought a cheap single-stage water filter. It was still like $120. But I didn't want to – we really wanted our Blue Tech because I fell in love with that right away. And and already, I mean, we're not fully back to where we were. Myron still has to come over and get the Victron stuff.
It's just Myron's turn now.
Yeah, and he's going to help me install the washer and dryer that we ordered from Amazon.
Right.
And but otherwise, you look in this RV, it looks very similar. The color scheming is a little different. We actually really like it. I think they called this linen decor.
I think so.
And our fireplace now has a mantle, which we didn't have.
Great.
I know you're super excited about that.
Yeah, because Christmas we can have our stockings.
Yep. Patty's ready to decorate for Christmas.
I said, let's try it out.
We got our mattress insider mattress on order. It'll be coming soon. And
the Splendid or Splendid washer and dryer.
Yep. And so, yeah, I mean, I think when you look at it, did we really want to spend, money to upgrade? No, nobody ever really wants to spend money. But when it's your home, and I think this maybe is different now versus when it wasn't our home. This is our home 365. And so that's why we chose. We have the money. We sat down. We looked at our finances. Would I rather have that money sitting in the bank? Absolutely.
Well, sure.
But we just looked at it long term and said we felt like this was the right decision for us. And that's why I always say, people are always quick on YouTube to leave comments. Like, I don't understand how you can afford it. You must be losing your shirt. Don't worry if I'm losing my shirt. It's my money, okay? That's the big joke I always say. But, people should stay in their lane when it comes to that kind of thing. I don't judge you how you spend your money. Don't judge me. And everybody's situations are different, and we should respect each other and that. But for us, this was the best decision in our opinion. The other thing is, I think I mentioned this in the midweek update we put out over on our Travels with Delaney YouTube channel. We don't have children, okay?
Just 2 doggies.
We just have 2 pups. And so, I'm not worried about building up an inheritance or anything like that. And life is short. We never know what's going to happen from day to day. And that was kind of, we had a situation in our family. I don't know if situation's the right word. I lost one of my uncles back in April. He was 10 years older than me.
Right.
And Patty and I, that one hit hard. I mean, they all hit hard. But I think it was almost a wake-up call to where Patty literally said to me on the way home from the funeral, she says, I think we need to talk about what arrangements we want if something were to happen to us. Like and then that was also when I said, I continue to want to live every day to the fullest and I want to be happy. And it wasn't that we couldn't be happy in the old RV, but it didn't make sense when we could afford to make this change not to be
Happy.
I don't know what the word is, but comfortable.
There you
go.
Yeah.
If somebody bought a small house and then realized, oh, it ain't big enough for the family, they wouldn't say, nobody would judge them for wanting to upgrade to a bigger house.
Right.
So
right,
anyway,
right.
honestly, I would say I don't care about the nasty comments that we get, but obviously I do because I talk about it.
Right.
So
It's
whatever.
all right.
Whatever.
It's part of the business.
That's why I love the podcast, though. People on the podcast are always much nicer. And I think that's because with the podcast, it doesn't reach a large audience. It's like people who you literally have to subscribe to it, I think, to listen to it. Where on YouTube, they'll send that video out to people who have no clue who you are. They just pop in. They don't know your story. They don't know you. They just hear what they want to hear and then instantly run to the keyboard to tell you what an idiot you are.
Yeah. I already know that.
We already know we're idiots, like.
But again, it's my money.
It's my money. Kevin here at the campground says he's going to get me a shirt someday that says, first off, it's my money. I didn't even realize I had said that last year when I said it, but it is kind of a funny line.
Yeah. Now it's
and it is kind of true.
Yeah.
Never asked for money from anyone.
No.
Always paid my bills on time.
Correct.
I'm still debt free even when buying this trailer. So
right.
Not bragging. Kind of am.
Kind of bragging.
Kind of bragging. So anyway, well, that's the big update that Patty accidentally leaked last week when she said something about, this trailer.
This trailer or the new trailer?
Yeah, or something.
Like
and
that.
I was like, oh my goodness. And we left it in. We're like, Jim, leave it in.
There we go.
And so we wanted to break this news to you here at the
wiki,
podcast.
No, it goes.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
I think the other was a rap.
Yeah.
You were doing a rap. Wiggity wiggity. I don't even know if that's a rap.
I don't know.
All right. Well, we need to wrap this up. Thank you to all of you who stayed all the way through this episode. We really appreciate it. And a huge shout out to our good friend and producer, Mr. Jim Kuzman.
Thank you, Jim.
Jim may have some of his own breaking news.
Yeah.
Jim, if you have anything to share to our podience, is that what we call them? Podience?
Okay, I don't know.
Go ahead and break in right here with your own announcement because I think Jim might, I haven't heard officially, but he might have his own little breaking news.
Nice.
So. But thank you, Jim, for all that you do to make this podcast what it is. And until next time, everybody, we will see you.
On down the road.
Bye.
Travels with Delaney. We'll see you on down the road.